The emergency broadcast reached every corner of human space simultaneously, crackling through quantum communicators with the authority of Earth Command. Admiral Sarah Chen's weathered face filled screens across 1,200 colonies, her expression carved from granite and bitter experience. At 3:47 Greenwich Standard Time, she began, her voice steady despite the ruins of New Geneva smoldering behind her. The Zephyrian Empire launched an unprovoked assault on Earth. They targeted civilian population centers. They targeted schools. They targeted hospitals. The camera panned slightly, revealing the twisted remains of what had once been the Global Peace Memorial, a monument to humanity's supposed evolution beyond warfare. Irony had a taste, Chen reflected, and it was ash and blood. The attack lasted 47 minutes. Casualty reports are still incoming, but preliminary estimates suggest 12 million dead, 30 million wounded. She paused, allowing the numbers to sink into the collective consciousness of humanity. The Zephyrian fleet has since retreated to their home system, apparently believing they had delivered a decisive blow. 3 days earlier, the Zephyrians had been considered humanity's closest allies among the galactic community. Their crystalline technology had revolutionized human medicine, while Earth's agricultural techniques had ended famine on 17 Zephyrian worlds. Trade flowed freely between their systems, and interspecies marriage was becoming common. The betrayal cut deeper than the destruction. Dr. Marcus Webb, director of xenobiology at Lunar Station, watched the broadcast from his laboratory, his hands still shaking from the adrenaline of the evacuation. Around him, specimens that had been gifts from Zephyrian scientists, beautiful, complex organisms that had fascinated him for years now, seemed like mockeries. He thought of his daughter Sarah, who had been studying on Zephyr Prime when the attack commenced. The last message from their communication relay had been 3 words: emergency evacuation initiated. The Galactic Council has condemned the attack, Admiral Chen continued, and several species have offered humanitarian aid. We thank our allies for their support. However, the Terran Federation will not be seeking mediation, reparations, or diplomatic solutions. The camera pulled back to reveal the full scope of Earth Command's temporary headquarters. Behind Chen, a holographic display showed the real-time positions of every human military vessel in known space. The numbers were staggering. Even veteran observers had underestimated humanity's military buildup following their withdrawal from the peace talks 6 months earlier. Instead, Chen said, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more menace than any shout, "We will be implementing Protocol 7. Across human space, military personnel exchanged glances of grim understanding. Protocol 7 wasn't just a battle plan, it was a philosophy of warfare that humanity had hoped never to use against an alien species. It was the collected wisdom of every human conflict, from ancient Troy to the resource wars of the 22nd century, distilled into a single, terrifying doctrine: total strategic annihilation. Captain Elena Vasquez, recently resigned from diplomatic service, stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Retribution, watching her tactical display update in real time. The irony wasn't lost on her. 3 months ago, she had been advocating for galactic cooperation. Now she was commanding one of 800 vessels moving towards Zephyrian space. "Admiral," came the report from her tactical officer, "the Kronos Group has achieved their objective. The Zephyrian outer defense grid is completely offline." Elena nodded. The first phase had been swift and surgical. Humanity's advanced stealth technology, derived from studying flux-adaptive materials, had allowed special forces teams to infiltrate and neutralize the Zephyrians' early warning systems. They would have no advance notice of the approaching fleet. "Phase 2 is commencing," reported another officer. "The Pegasus Squadron has begun deployment of quantum resonance mines throughout the asteroid belt analog in the Zephyr system." Elena studied the tactical projections. The Zephyrians had made a fundamental error in their assessment of human psychology. They had assumed that humanity, like most galactic species, would respond to aggression with measured retaliation, proportional response, and eventual negotiation. They had not accounted for the fact that humans had spent millennia perfecting the art of making their enemies extinct. The third phase began 18 hours later. The human fleet, maintaining perfect communication silence, took positions around every planet, moon, and space installation in the Zephyr system. The coordination was flawless, a testament to centuries of military evolution and the painful lessons learned from fighting themselves. "All vessels report ready," Elena announced to the fleet command frequency. Beginning final phase on Admiral Chen's signal. The signal came not as words, but as a mathematical sequence that had been burned into human military doctrine since the first wars against AI rebellion, the Fibonacci numbers counting down from infinity. When it reached 0, 800 human vessels opened fire simultaneously. The Zephyrian response was immediate but futile. Their crystalline technology, so elegant and efficient, had one critical flaw that human scientists had discovered months earlier during their cooperative research projects. The harmonic frequencies of their power systems could be destabilized by precisely modulated graviton pulses. Every Zephyrian vessel, from massive dreadnoughts to tiny civilian transports, simply stopped functioning. "It's over," Elena reported to Fleet Command 12 hours later. The Zephyrian military capacity has been completely neutralized. Their government is requesting immediate surrender and offering full reparations. Admiral Chen's response came through the command channel, broadcast to every human vessel in the system: negative. There will be no surrender accepted. There will be no reparations sufficient. They attacked Earth. They killed our children. The final phase was not warfare. It was extinction event management. Human ships, moving with the precision of surgeons and the ruthlessness of viruses, systematically dismantled every trace of Zephyrian civilization. Not through bombardment or massacre, but through the complete disruption of their technology base. Within 72 hours, the Zephyrian Empire had been reduced to a pre-industrial civilization trapped on their homeworld, their spacefaring capability erased as thoroughly as if it had never existed. Dr. Webb received word that his daughter had been found alive in the Terran embassy evacuation. As he held the message, his hands had finally stopped shaking. The galaxy would remember this lesson. Humanity could be reasoned with, negotiated with, even befriended. But they could never again be safely attacked. Protocol 7 had been retired, its purpose served.